Yo, yo, yo.
What is up? Um, we are reviving the WWE pay-per-view reviews, and the first pay-per-view that we're gonna do is SummerSlam 2010, the infamous SummerSlam 2010.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, this show honestly wasn't bad.
It wasn't. It just there was a lot of things I thought, it could have made the show a lot better than some of what the outcomes truly were.
Speaking of the show, let's get right into it. And in the first match that we have, it was the Kofi Kingston versus Dolph Ziggler IC title match. What did you think about it?
I thought it was a good match until it's just crazy looking at it now. Like, Jesus Christ, almost 12 years. Just seeing some of this shit that's but I think overall it was a good match. I mean, I like how the was kind of built up. I mean, during that time, I mean, because even though you really had I think because Kofi, not the kind of person you would think to have like that, like a vengeful kind of bone in his body, but the way that he was kind of you put to that, after let's be real, that Dolph Ziggler stole that IC title away from Kofi. They kind of really just turned Kofi into a much different animal.
Yeah, he was like, to me, he was more like an aggressive babyface around this time, which I loved, because nowadays, fast forward to 2022, he's not really that aggressive. He's more laid back.
Yeah.
Cracking jokes, and he's not serious anymore. But back then he was a dog. He was serious. He was, aggressive. But he started the match being aggressive. Rob, you good? All right, we got technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Start off. I don't know what happened. Like, you just froze. I was talking and then it was like dead air. But Kofi started the match by getting aggressive.
Yeah.
He knocked Ziggler. He was punching. He was all over Ziggler. Ziggler got knocked out of the ring. He tried to hit a suicide dive, but he misses. Dolph tried to get the count out victory because he squirmed his way back into the ring while Kofi's like half knocked out from hitting his head on the barricade. And then the match heats up with some back and forth fast paced action. And then at the end of the match, how this match ended made no sense to me.
It really did it.
I mean, I get it. It was the build up, the Cena, the 7-on-7.
Yeah.
Team WWE Nexus match, but they had Nexus come out and attack both Kofi and Dolph, who had no, ties to that group.
Exactly.
Or to that storyline. They just came out and attacked. And then they cut a promo saying that this was just a little taste of what will happen to Team WWE tonight. And then we cut the backstage. And Chris Jericho and Edge is trying to recruit The Miz. And The Miz just says, nah, I don't want this. I want no part of this. He's a heel at this point. Yes, Chris Jericho and Edge are the heels too in this match.
Yeah.
But I mean,
It's just really.
I didn't really get it at this point. Like we knew The Miz was gonna say no at that point, but he would actually have a change of heart later in the show. But then we get to the second match. Alicia Fox versus Melina. It was very technical in the beginning. It immediately gets aggressive when Melina just face plants Alicia Fox. Like, she grabbed her by the hair and boom.
And that's the thing too. This is also the same year that Melina was also coming back from a knee injury at the same time.
And speaking of coming back from injury, she would work the injury. She would use it to her advantage in storyline. She would work it. Like, she was rubbing her leg, limping, and stuff like that. But I did not like this match.
Nah.
despite all that. It was short. It was like maybe like a 3-minute match, and it seemed like Alicia Fox barely got any offense in, and it made Alicia Fox look incredibly weak as champion, incredibly weak,
That is true.
and I didn't like it.
Because and the other said too, they just basically just trying to like prove to say that her title reign was a complete fluke.
It was to prove that her title reign was a fluke, and they did not think highly of her from the jump.
Which is crazy to looking back at it 12 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really crazy looking back at it, because even by the time before she even left WWE, I think it was like 2016-ish, they would not look highly of her. They made her a jobber by 2016.
Which is not say crazy, but
and then she was just in like random backstage segments.
Yeah.
But Laycool would come out.
Yeah. Not one of my favorites. And this is just have a co-women's champion. It's like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, that's something that I didn't. God damn, get out of here. But yeah, like I was saying, because my goodness, but
yeah, the whole co-women's champion thing kind of sucked. But honestly, I didn't mind Laycool.
I mean, Laycool wasn't bad, but the whole, like you said, the whole co-women's champion stuff didn't really make any sense.
Yeah, but they would come out and they kind of reminded me of the Iconics.
Yeah,
because they were incredibly annoying, incredibly goddamn annoying, and they were supposed to be. They were annoying heels. But Melina would try. They would try to, I think, recruit Melina, or try to take a picture with her. Some shit. I don't know what was going on there.
It was really weird.
But Melina wouldn't have any of it. She would beat the hell out of both of them. But then, Alicia Fox and the Iconics would just jump her. Or actually, no. Laycool would jump her and Alicia Fox. And then the segment just ended. I'm like, what was the point?
Yeah, exactly. It was really not the point. It was just stupid.
I'm sitting there like, what was the point of this? You had the SmackDown champions beat up the Raw champion plus Alicia Fox for no fucking reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, what's the point? And then we go to our 3-on-1 handicap match between Straight Edge Society, Joey Mercury, CM Punk, and Doc Gallows versus The Big Show.
I actually thought it was not that bad of a match anyway.
It was honestly, really good, a really good match. It actually showcased CM Punk and Big Show very well. Honestly, Big Show with his power and CM Punk with his agility and his speed and all the other stuff that he was good with. But Big Show would have him fooled in the beginning. He comes out, his hands wrapped up in a bandage or a glove, whatever the hell.
Yeah,
and then as soon as he got to the steps, he would look at CM Punk. He would smile, laugh, take the damn glove or the bandage off, and said, "Look, my hand's fine."
Yeah.
And then he would immediately take out two of the members of Straight Edge Society out, which was Joey Mercury and Doc Gallows.
Oh yeah.
He would go after Punk, but then Punk would reverse a chop on the stairs. Or no, he goes after Punk. Punk goes out of the ring, runs around the ring, gets to the stairs. Big Show immediately grabs him. He puts him on the steps. He would go and hit him with a chop. Punk would move out of the way, boom.
That is true.
Big
And
Show's hand hit flat on the
yeah, it's just like, man, that was one bad mistake.
Yeah, and the thing is, that was the hand that they had kayfabe injured
Yeah.
the previous week. Straight Edge Society would regain momentum, and all three members would attack and keep the Big Show down for a while. But then the Big Show would regain momentum, and then, it would be back and forth after. Well, it wasn't back and forth because the Big Show would dominate for a little bit, and then it took one kick that Punk hit, and Punk gains momentum again.
Oh, yeah.
And then Big Show would use his power to get back in the match. Chokeslam to one of Straight Edge Society. I forgot who he pinned, but didn't. It was
no, because I think
good.
he did pin both Mercury and Gallows.
Yeah, and the thing is, it didn't hurt Punk. His momentum not halted, and Big Show, his momentum not halted, and it continued the feud for a while.
Yeah,
which I liked. I liked that. We cut the backstage again, and we see Kane sitting there with a casket. And Kane vows to end Rey Mysterio's existence. And then Sheamus comes out, or Sheamus walks in the room. And Sheamus wants to use Kane's casket to end Randy Orton. And Kane says no. And Sheamus goes with the classic heel move, "You better stay out of my way," and walks off.
that's
honestly, I did not mind this segment because it showed that Sheamus was serious as a heel, as well as Kane, and it gave you like intrigue for both their matches.
Oh yeah,
and they did it one segment, which I liked. I liked that. So, what did you think about the segment?
Like the thing is like, I mean, I thought it was very intriguing the fact that you had two separate world champions on two different brands.
Yep.
And then you had Sheamus just like for some reason. At one point when I looked at it, it's like it really didn't make any sense. But the fact that they had their separate opponents, which is try to end quote unquote kayfabe end their careers and shit like that, which did finally make sense. It did make sense. But originally when you literally looked at it, it's like a casket. You have Sheamus in the room too. That kind of pissed Kane off too. Like it's like, where the hell are you going to take with this? But the fact
if you look at it face value, yes, it looks like it doesn't make sense. But if you actually listen to the promos,
it starts to make more sense.
It makes sense because what WWE was trying to accomplish there was they were trying to get both Kane and Sheamus over, trying to get them both, and you're trying to WWE was trying to gain intrigue for both those matches, and it worked. So I was intrigued. I'm like, all right, Sheamus wants to end Randy Orton, but Kane also wants to end Rey Mysterio.
Oh yeah,
and that's I love that. I love that you gain intrigue for two matches in 1 second.
Oh yeah, absolutely, for sure.
WWE did a hell of a job with that.
And the fact that even with the, but I mean, when I looked, like you said, I think it's better because when I looked at it, it's okay from a face value perspective. It's just like, what the hell is this? But like you said, like looking at how they speak and shit like that, it starts to paint a bigger picture. And not gonna lie, I mean, I thought it would have been better to see a casket mentioned SummerSlam. That's what I would wanted to see that on between Mysterio and Kane.
And we got that. But the thing is, what really confused me was that I did not know that you could pin your opponent in a casket match.
Yeah, that's the weirdest part. Really looking at it. It's like when you think of the rules of a casket match, you just stuff your opponent in there and just close the lid. That's one of the.
Like I've never seen a like. We'll get to that match later in the show, but I wanted to like address that rule first. I did not know you could pin your opponent
Man, there's some
in a
shit.
casket match. Usually in a casket match, it's like, oh, incapacitate your opponent enough to where they're knocked out, and you can just roll them into the casket and close the casket to win the match.
Yeah, it's
And
self-explanatory.
there's no pinfalls or submissions. But apparently in 2010 they added pinfalls to the match.
Which looking at this, as I really that does not make sense.
It doesn't make sense because if you win a match with a freaking pinfall in a casket match,
The casket
just have a normal match.
Exactly. I think that's pretty much what it was. They never really scheduled as a casket match, but Kane had the casket out there, to basically symbolize, like, yeah, your career is fucking. You're pretty much, in other words.
Oh, you know what I think? It probably no, it wasn't a casket match. It was a standard match, but Kane symbolized it, and what they did after the match made the casket useful.
I thought that was pretty genius. I mean,
but we'll get to that later in the show here. But the Miz would come out to the ring and cut a promo.
Yeah,
not scheduled on the show, not on the card. You just come out, cut a promo. Was scheduled, but it wasn't on the card itself.
Yeah.
Because of course he wanted to make it unpredictable. But he would literally come out and say countless wrestlers had asked him to join Team WWE later in the show against Nexus. R-Truth wrote him a crappy rap, which I find I said I believe that.
It's just
I laughed at that part. I laughed at that part though, because I'm like, I believe R-Truth did that.
Because it's like it's hard to take R-Truth seriously ever since then. It's just.
But the thing is, back in 2010, 2011, he wasn't a comedy character. 2010, 2011, he was a serious guy.
Which is
if it was 2022, I would have believed every bit of that.
Absolutely.
Because he's a comedy character now. But back then he was a serious guy.
And it really worked it really did work for him a little bit before going to that comedy character. And you really think about it too, looking at the Miz, at that time, it's just like already held the US title. I thought he actually did it let's be real, I think one of the underrated US champions in that time.
He's an underrated champion, period.
That is true. I
don't care what you say. People don't like them. For some reason, Miz isn't as over as other champions have been. The only time he was over as a champion was his Intercontinental title run in 2016.
Yeah, he actually really brought that back into I think pretty much the main spotlight, because you really think
but back in 2010, he wasn't over.
No, but he knew how to cut a mean promo for his share, and still to this day he still can do that. But look, it's just
for a guy who came into WWE stumbling his words, forgetting his lines. He now can cut a freaking mean ass promo.
Not just that too, and it also came in was one of the worst people in the locker room according to a lot of superstars back then.
Yeah, he got kicked out of the damn locker room. He had to sleep in the freaking hallway.
If I'm not mistaken, that might have been John. Could that have been Cena that probably one of the kicked him out? No, that was somebody else. Oh God!
No. It was in the storyline with his feud with Cena. It was Cena.
Which is, and really looking at it, and this is why sometimes some of the heel promos that I like, the fact he did. Oh, what did he say? I think the fact he dissed because they were in Los Angeles, made some hard shots and they're at their sports team, sports teams.
Dude, the man came out. Speaking of that, the man came out and he mentioned on this show, SummerSlam 2010. The man comes out. He mentions LeBron's decision. It was the time that LeBron made the decision to ditch Cleveland and go to the Heat.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy to really
He
think
mentions
about.
that he mentions the decision special on ESPN earlier. I think this was
Oh,
like 2 months after it happened.
yeah. I think it was. I remember that
Actually, no,
documentary.
it was a month after it happened because usually Summerslam's in August,
Yeah.
even in 2010. So it was a month after it happened. And then he goes on because they're in LA. I think they're in the
And
Staples
he
Center.
disses the Lakers of all.
He disses the goddamn Lakers.
Oh,
Crack
I
up.
lost my shit. I started cracking up. It's like, man, like, look, it's like, will you like him or hate? Like, he knows how to cut a mean promo. Because you really think about it, heel Miz, I think, was one of the best.
Yeah,
You know,
Face Miz kind
it
of
was
sucks.
okay.
Face Miz is like either okay or it's bad. To me, I thought his first face run kind of sucked back in 2012, but 2019 his face run was okay-ish.
I mean,
And they kind of segued him out of it with the whole Fiend thing, which made no sense. Because he's feuding with the Fiend, but then he turns heel because the Fiend got in his head and weird.
it was, but
But at least they turned him heel again, and he's been heel ever since because he's a better heel than he is face.
First of all, it should never have done that in the first place to begin with.
No. But he would claim that the fans didn't want him to be in Team WWE. But he ends up, saying my answer is yes. Which that wouldn't make a difference at all.
It
by
really
the end of the show, and you'll see why. He ends with his catchphrase, "I'm the Miz and I'm awesome." And all
that's right. No, he had it like the interruption the first time.
Like, no. That was the thing. He goes, "I'm the Miz and the fans go, "I'm awesome." And he goes, "No. You don't you do not get to repeat my damn catchphrase to me." It's hilarious. It was kind of like The Rock when he did it in 03.
Good Coach Spotlight shit. What's up?
No, but that's what he did. That's what The Rock did in 03. He goes, "No, you don't get to repeat my catchphrase. You don't like me. I don't like you. So I don't."
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Because I think overall, I mean, if you really think about it, it's just like look at it 12 years later. I mean, the dude as one of the it's probably one.
Honestly, looking back at the Miz's career in 2010 to now, the man deserves to be in the goddamn Hall of Fame.
I mean, at this point, you really should, because number one, he's already tied with the most reigns of the Intercontinental Championship with Chris Jericho. Another guy that's had a probably.
And it's not just because of the titles; it's because of his character work. His character work is next to none, bro.
It's exceptional.
Exceptional work.
I mean, the only thing that was really we nitpicked was his wardrobe choice. We did talk.
Well, I'm completely axing the 2006 to 2009 version of him.
Oh,
we can axe that out.
Thank God.
Version of him, forget about it.
And the fact
if he kept that style, he didn't change up his style and his gimmick, he probably would have been floundering the lower mid card.
But
he changed up his style. He changed up his look. He got better with his promos. Got better in the ring.
He's a technical wrestler than people will give him credit for.
Man got better. And now he's one of the best. He's one of the top tier guys.
That too, and he's one of the lucky man too to land someone like Maurice too at the same time. Who can say that?
Dude, Maurice is a goddamn babe.
But it really looking back.
But the thing is, Miz is funny. Women like funny.
That is true. I mean, I can see why he was very funny. Even though he was a serious heel, but the way how he spazzes out as a heel, it's funny as hell.
Dude, I just like when he just himself, like either on Miz and Mrs. or if you watch the celebrity softball game this year and the way he acted, he just makes me laugh. It's hilarious.
It's just like as crazy as it sounds. It's like whether you like him or hate him, I think he's still going to go down. Even though let's be real, I think he actually has some pretty couple of decent world title runs. I mean, that's where I will say, like,
the problem, the first title run was actually really good.
It was. Don't get me.
But the
I'll agree
second
with
one was a freaking complete ass joke.
that. It was like
Oh,
it
let's
was.
just make him a segue to Bobby Lashley's reign.
Yeah.
Like what? Like I like
Like
Bobby
what?
Lashley as champion. He was a great champion.
But
Don't get
what
me
sense?
wrong. I love Bobby Lashley in his championship reign.
But
But
what
don't
sense?
use the goddamn Miz as a goddamn segue.
Like wait, like try to build it up first for crying out loud.
He had the
But
title for a month, Rob. A month.
yeah,
He lost it to Bobby.
yeah.
Like
And
what?
going back, and you really think about it too. I mean, even though, like we said, SummerSlam. I mean, as the name of the show says, it's one of the biggest shows of the summer. I mean, even though it does take place in August, which
August. I don't mind that it ends summer.
I
Honestly,
mean, the fact
being in
and
August,
I actually really did like the set design in 2010, though. I thought it was an interesting set
I
design.
hated it. I freaking hated
How?
it. Because all they had was a goddamn steel ring above the damn set that they used for Raw and SmackDown, Rob. That's lazy as fuck.
Yeah, I
I'd
mean,
rather have the set design from like 06 or hell, 08.
I mean, you're not wrong too,
That
but it's
was
just
more elaborate and great looking. He had a freaking steel ring above a set that's already been used for Raw and SmackDown.
and it's crazy.
All they took out was the LED, logo at the top that they had back then.
I didn't really think about it. Like, even when we kind of go back to the Melina and Fox match, it's crazy. 12 years ago, like, you still had, Eminem, so to speak, even though John Morrison kind of split off and done his own thing, and Joey Mercury with the Straight Edge Society, which is crazy. Really think about, like, man, you would never have thought stuff like, Joey Mercury would ever be part like with Eminem.
Honestly, I didn't even remember that Joey Mercury lasted for
as long as he
longer than
did.
what he. No, after he busted his nose, I thought he retired.
Yeah, that is true.
But he didn't. He lasted until about like 2010, 2011. And then he did the whole executive backstage role thing.
And I think he's done well in that position ever since then.
He has.
And the fact that even Melina's still going to this day is impressive in her own right.
Melina is still kicking ass, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like she has never missed a step since then.
No, she's not missed a step ever. Like, she's still kicking ass.
And I'll say this too. I'll admit this too. I think the most, for me, one of my underrated tag teams was Eminem. Yes, would you like him or hate him? But I mean, who else could pull off somewhat of a Hollywood type tag team with the paparazzi and the rolling down the red carpet? Like, whoever pulled that off?
Yeah, the gimmick screamed, "Look at me," and I loved it.
Exactly. I mean, God, I still can't picture Joey Mercury with fucking dreadlocks. That still doesn't sit well with me. Let's be real.
I look at him like, is this motherfucker wearing dreadlocks? Looking back on it. Like, when he was with Eminem, I'm like, is he wearing dreadlocks?
There's no fucking way that's Joey Mercury.
I'm like, did this motherfucker wear dreadlocks and I didn't even know about it?
Not, hey, but that's where I will cut. We'll get off my random thought.
But he would ditch the dreadlocks for a bald head, so it's better. Look, a bald head is better than goddamn dreadlocks.
And also things too, with like you said, with the Straight Edge Society, looking back on that as well, the fact that Serena D was part of that, it's just like, looking at her now, it's just like, it's completely
honestly, it was crazy. But the thing is, what WWE did to her appearance, I can see why she hated WWE for.
Yeah,
they made her get all this work done, and they shaved her damn head.
It did not that.
Looking back, I'm like, no, I don't.
So it's like, how does she not show any frustration the fact that they shaved her head on live TV? I think was on.
They shaved her head on a live episode of SmackDown. They gave her a fucking. They paid for her fucking boob job that she did not want. Technical. You're frozen again, buddy. No, they paid for a boob job. They paid a boob job she did not want.
Like, you could definitely tell, like, shit was done to her.
Shit was done to her. Yeah, after she left, she got a reduction and everything, and she's happier now, and I'm happy for her
And
because that was some heinous shit that we tried to
like
pull.
I started shaking my hands. It's like because at the time you had to feel bad for this woman, for Serena Deeb at the time when this shit was all going down.
Yeah, you got to feel bad.
That's here nor there.
She made it work. She was good heel. She was good in British society.
But just
but they did not need to modify her body to get her.
That really now. And I will say this too before and so we can move on. That was for me. I felt it would kind of cross the line just a bit for me
when she cut that promo. When she cut that promo in AEW to Thunder Rosa, saying, "Oh, WB had me modify my body just to get me over."
Like hearing that's just
the
like
thing is, it was supposed to be a heel promo, but I felt freaking bad
because like it's. But I mean, shit. Ever since then, she's been a world champion in different promotions. Ever since then, it's just
she's been a world champion in the oldest promotion.
Yeah,
the NW goddamn A, bro.
And it's the most historic one at that. I mean, it's produced like
yeah.
But that's one of those little nitpick. But it's just like overall at this point in the show, it's less like minus some of the I think overall it's just some of the segments like we said, some of them really did not make any goddamn sense whatsoever.
The only segment that didn't make any sense to me was the Lake Cool.
Yeah, that Lake Cool segment's like what? Like we did not need that.
It was just a throwaway. I'm like, what was the point?
Exactly. I mean, yeah, but the co-champions thing it was one of my hugest nitpicks. Like there was that's here nor there.
Next up we have the WWE title. We're pushing the title matches to earlier in the show. WWE pushed the title matches to earlier in the show because they wanted Nexus and Team WWE to be the last match on the card.
I mean, yeah, because it just seems to be how they booked it, and just how they marketed it for that year, for that show that
let me tell you something right here. This match was one of my favorite matches to watch. Rewatching that Summerslam 2010.
Is this like the world championship or the world heavyweight title?
The WWE title.
Okay. Oh, jeez, the fucking ugly ass spinner belt.
But the spinner belt, honestly, I like it better than the damn bland ass
giant W. Looking at that,
we took that shit for granted, bro.
Yeah.
We took that shit for granted. We dogged them for having that title. And now we want that shit back because that shit was better than the big ass W that they have now.
Yeah. And I think too, it had the good classic women's title design. Let's be real. Probably
honestly, I don't. Yeah, the classic women's title design is better than the giant W that they have. Every title except for the mid card title is a giant W or a goddamn nickel or dime for tag titles.
That is
true. That out for goddamn size.
Or if you look at
the tag titles look better in 2010 than they do now.
And if you think about this too, they also Jesus Christ, probably one of the worst title designs I've ever seen. And that was the Divas Championship. A fucking butterfly of all goddamn designs. Oh, and there goes Tyler. Whoops. Sorry about that. My buddy Tyler should be back in any second now. But before that little miscue, I wish to say. But yeah, appreciate everybody that's and speaking of boom.
All right, I gotta go back out of this and back in it because I can barely hear you. I fat fingered the damn home button on my damn.
Okay.
Refresh this.
Yeah,
refresh. Come on, why?
Yeah, but other than while Tyler's still with technical difficulties, appreciate everybody's been coming in. If you guys are new, definitely smash the like button. Also, if you all right, how about now?
I can still barely hear you. What the
damn?
Fuck?
Yo, what up? But yeah, like we said, I mean, like I said, my buddy Tyler's dealing with technical issues, but yeah, we were kind of for those who are just coming in, we are still recap, basically in review.
let me just go out of this entirely. What the?
Oh, jeez. But yeah, so like I said, when he's coming back, as obviously doing it on the mobile phone is kind of a pain in the ass. But like we said, I mean, it was just as the title states of the stream, we do, which we haven't really done in a while, and
I
boom,
can still barely hear you. What?
damn.
I'm not.
Let me check, Steve. Yeah, but other than that, like I said, I mean, but yeah, the last time we done something like in what we call at the time we did have to call it a recollection series, but that would really just didn't take off well as the title it would say. But we kind of decided to bring this back.
Oh my god, bro! 5 tries, 5.
Ah, jeez,
Because I fat fingered the goddamn home button,
bruh.
and the audio was low as shit, and I had to get out of it and get back into it. Anyway, sorry for the goddamn technical difficulties, guys. It's my bad.
Yeah.
And me cutting in and out was because every time I join the stream, it's low, and then I have to get out of it and get back into it. Usually it takes like 1 try. It took like a whopping 5-6 tries to get back into this with sound audio.
But yeah, so like I said before, the technical issues, I think the Diva Championship was stupid, to say the least.
Oh my god! You know what it reminded me of? You know those butterfly tattoos that women get on their fucking backs?
Yeah, it was just one of the.
Reminds me of that shit.
And not to mention too, they called it the Divas division. And you gotta think too, and that was even worse back then.
Dude.
But
nowadays, calling the women diva in WWE is a bad word.
Oh yeah, that should be.
That's the same merit as a goddamn curse word.
It's basically a dirty word in wrestling. That's basically what he's saying.
Yeah, it's a dirty word in wrestling, and it should be, because they're not divas; they're wrestlers.
Yeah, but that's just
women, but of course,
at the time they thought it was
at the time they were a little bit more serious in 2010 because of course PG.
Mm-hmm.
They were still sexualized a bit.
Yeah,
they were written in joke storylines. Hell, I think back in like 2010 or 2011, they had Natalya being in an elaborate fart joke.
Oh, right. I remembered that. That's when we got copyright.
And WWE hated me for posting that video, calling them out on the bullshit.
Like, you could definitely tell us, just like, what the fuck is this shit?
They literally had a segment or segments. This lasted months.
This is like
to where they had Natalya pass gas everywhere.
She's let's just say that was just one of the worst ideas I've ever seen. It's like,
and there was another segment too.
Oh boy, it's like
in 20. I think it was like 2010, same year as this show, where Mickey James was in the butt of fat jokes.
Oh yeah, that's another thing that really pissed me off.
Mickey James in a storyline with Lakewood.
Like, oh geez,
they humiliated the shit out of her, bro.
Yeah, I feel humiliated was an understatement.
I was like, oh my god. Looking back on it, I'm like, what the fuck is this shit?
But now looking.
But back to the retitle itself. Randy Orton will win a triple threat on Raw the previous week to get the opportunity to face Sheamus for the title.
Yeah.
If he loses, but there was a stipulation they added the night of. If Randy loses, he gets no rematch. Rematch clause null and void if he loses.
Which is kind of redundant if you really think about that with that stipulation.
But it makes sense though for the story.
Oh yeah, story absolutely.
If anyone interferes, they'll be indefinitely suspended.
Oh yeah, I remember. They did. Michael Cole did kind of talk about that part of it as well on commentary.
Randy Orton would dominate early. Sheamus would try to gain momentum, but he would get his ass kicked early in this match.
Pretty much. I mean,
Randy tries to whip Sheamus into the steps, but Sheamus reverses and gains momentum. Sheamus would go for a suplex, only to be reversed, thrown outside, and repeatedly bashed. Like, he would literally just repeatedly get his head bashed into the barricade.
Yeah.
By Randy Orton. Randy tries to hit his middle rope DDT, but he would get thrown outside and repeatedly bashed into the barricade. Or no, wait. Oh, Sheamus had did it. Never mind.
Yeah. Sheamus is the one.
It was Sheamus, yeah. I read that wrong. Back in the ring, because Sheamus thrown back in the ring. Sheamus would work on Randy's arm because he had injured his arm. I think earlier in the match.
Yeah.
He would work on his arm that he injured early in the match. But both would try to get pins.
Yeah.
Both of them kick out. And Sheamus would go for the bro kick. He misses, gets crotched on the top rope. Randy would hit the DDT, the middle rope DDT. He would go for the RKO, but he would reverse it. And the way Sheamus reversed it was clean as hell. He pushed off Randy.
Yeah, because we look at it,
Randy would go for the RKO, but he pushed him off.
Yeah, because what I'm saying is like when you first looked at it, it's like you said, "Oh, did he hit it?"
It looked like in full speed, like Randy hit it. But when
if you slow it down, like you definitely see his hands push Randy off of him.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, they had to do the slow-mo replay, and you see Sheamus.
That's great. It was like you cannot tell me that's one of the clean. I mean, we've seen different counter over the years, but not as subtle and clean like that was from Sheamus.
Yeah. All right. Sorry for that loud bang. That was my clipboard. Randy would go for an RKO. But then that would get reversed again into a bro kick because Randy would get back up he pushed off, but Randy hit the ropes. Randy would run the rope, bro kick. 1, 2, kick out.
And that's pretty much led to, I think, probably one of the most funniest meltdowns by Sheamus we've ever seen.
Dude threw a hissy goddamn fit. Sheamus would throw the referee, causing a DQ.
And the fact that he just did that had a smirk on his face. I mean,
and the thing is, he did it on purpose though, because then Randy would look at Randy and laugh at Randy because he knew if he DQs, he still has the title. Randy wins the match, but he doesn't win the title.
No, because title cannot change hands on the disqual. Nope. Cannot change hands on a disqualification.
Mm-hmm. Can't change hands on a disqualification. Sheamus would get sent to Dick Kick City.
Oh yeah, you were talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Randy just won't go. He just boots him like a freaking NFL kicker. Like.
And this is at the time too when Randy was like clean shaven at the time.
Yeah, this was like
I think Randy was.
It was like right after, like a few years into the Viper character.
Yeah, which is crazy looking back. That Randy was 42. Let's see, he was about 12.
Randy was 42 at the time.
No, this year he's 42, but
he was 30. You said he was 42 at the time.
20. That's crazy.
The man was in his 30s at the time.
Early 30s at the time.
Early 30s, yeah.
Oh my God, that shit sounds all weird virtual again.
But Randy would lose his mind.
Yeah, you don't piss off Randy.
No, if you piss off Randy, you're
fucked.
You are fucked. You piss off Randy.
Oh boy, this dude man went on a rampage on Sheamus.
But he would lose his mind, He would beat the living hell out of Sheamus. My mom's yelling outside, and I keep looking out there. He would beat the shit out of Sheamus. Then he would put him on the announce table.
And
GG's, my guy. Gets RKO'd.
on the table. As it's like, man, I mean, you got to think to with Randy in the Viper character early in that man was ruthless. Like he did not give.
The man gave no two. He didn't even give a fuck.
If you really think about it, this at the time we still had the knee punt kick at the time too in his arsenal.
He still had the punt kick. They didn't ban the punt kick, and I don't think until like 2016ish.
I think what?
Oh no, it was 20. I think it was 2014.
I think what might have been 2014.
Yeah, it had to have been 2014.
I don't know exactly what caused it, because I know it really does. I mean, if you really looked at the punt kick, especially, which is basically a running knee strike to the side of the head. Yeah,
no, it's not a running knee strike, bro. It is a kick to the head. And full on kick to the head, bro. That's why they called it a punt kick. It's a kick to the head.
Looking back at it, it's like, yeah, I can see why they got banned that completely, because
I think they finally saw how problematic that move was.
Oh yeah.
Like no one got hurt by it or anything, but they were like, yeah.
Yeah.
They should have banned this a long time ago.
Yeah.
But now we have our next match. It is Rey Mysterio versus Kane, World Heavyweight title.
I thought that match was good too.
The whole damn storyline was good.
Yeah, storyline was great.
Oh my god. You have Kane being crazy, thinking that Rey attacked his brother and other shit's going on. He was like the heel that had good intentions, but he did the worst shit.
Yeah, which is
like he was that type of heel in this storyline. He was that type of bad guy where they have good intentions, but they do it all the wrong way.
Oh yeah. Because you think you feel sympathetic for the bad guy, but like you said, they have the worst intentions possible on their agenda.
He wanted to find the person who attacked the Undertaker, and he would accuse Rey of doing it.
Yeah, that is.
And Rey would go out and say, I think a few weeks before SummerSlam, that no, it's not me, Kane, it's you. But it wasn't really a reveal. It was more like an accusation back.
Oh yeah,
at the time. But honestly, Kane dominated the entire goddamn match.
I mean, you really think about it, look at the size. You got to remember this. The size
difference. Yeah, the size difference. Rey's like 5 foot something, and Kane's like 7 foot.
7 foot, 300+ pounds. You have a guy like Rey Mysterio under 6 feet, just under 200 pounds. Like,
yeah, that's like me trying to go against Kane and me just getting squashed.
Well, the thing, and Rey uses that to most, and we see throughout Rey's career, he has used his size to his advantage.
Yeah, he flies around the damn ring like a madman.
And shit, I mean, we've seen him beat bigger opponents twice his size because he tires them out, which is something
the man beat up goddamn Kali.
Which
he was built like a goddamn tree, bro.
Exactly, that should tell you. But I think overall, I think this was one of the best storylines we've seen storytelling wise at its finest in 2010. I thought the match was pretty good. I mean, overall, it felt really one-sided.
It was more like, Rey would get some offense and he would go to hit a 619, but he would automatically get clotheslines. Like every time Rey would get momentum,
like he gets stopped.
Kane would immediately follow it back and get momentum back. And he would dominate still.
Absolutely.
Kane would end up winning, but he would work a knee injury that he would sustain.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty good. But he still won despite that. Chokeslam win.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it ends. Chokeslam win. Kane would try to put Rey in a casket, but Rey would fight back, only to be only to be tombstoned
Yeah.
and dragged to the casket. Kane would open the goddamn casket
Probably.
only to find the Undertaker.
Like,
Undertaker does his patented. Undertaker would do his patented sit up. Kind of struggled to stand.
Yeah.
You notice that he kind of struggled.
Yeah, because Kane did say he was like coming out of like a quote unquote vegetative state or whatever the case was.
Maybe it was because he in storyline he was weaker because he was in a coma in storyline.
Yeah,
but to me, I don't know. It was kind of like he was on the older side at that point. This was 2010.
You could definitely tell he was on the older side of things.
But he could still move though in 2010. He was still good in 2010.
Oh yeah.
So I kind of think he was just working an injury, a fake injury, or a fake weakness that he had.
Yeah, instead of trying to continue that storyline, like say awoken from a coma or something like that. He did say Kane did say he did awaken from a coma and mumble a few words and shit like that. But it's just like you said. Even you can definitely tell, like, and even the Undertaker was in pretty decent shape at the time too, before his age finally caught up to him years later.
He was pretty good. He was pretty good up until like 2014.
Yeah,
and then that's when his health the downturn. But he would immediately go after Ray.
Yeah, man. We talk about looking daggers into somebody's soul.
The man's like, "You're dead, Ray. You're dead." Why?
Like, you definitely.
But the thing is, he didn't immediately attack him. He like walked him into the corner. Ray scared out of his freaking mind. Like, don't hit me, don't hurt me, don't hurt me. The entire time, yelling, "Don't hurt me," Undertaker. And Undertaker would go, "Why'd you do it?" And then it's like Southern accent. "Why'd you do it?"
Yeah.
Like, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. And then the Undertaker would say, and I don't know if you picked it up. I picked it up.
Yeah, I did pick it up.
He would say, "I believe you."
Not to mention, he said, have you ever believed an eye for an eye or tooth from a tooth? Probably the most.
Have you ever believed? Yeah, he said it in the most badass Western. He was kind of like a badass Western guy. And then, have you ever believed in an eye for an eye?
Yeah, and shit like that.
I'm like, oh shit.
What
are you, Chuck Norris, or what are you, goddamn Clint Eastwood, or are you Undertaker?
But then, ever since then, his traditional head snap to look at his other opponents, and the fact
the thing is, he would act like he was going to pick up Ray for the jokes. He slowly picked him up by the neck. Then he would just snap his head.
And looked at Kane, and the crowd went wild.
He would look at Undertaker he would look at Kane with the most menacing freaking look, wide-eyed and everything. He would turn around, he would choke slam Kane. Or no, he would grab Kane by the neck, and then Undertaker would, he would grab Kane by the neck. Kane would grab him by the neck.
Yeah.
Undertaker wins out. And Kane would win out and tombstone the Undertaker.
Yeah, and I mean that's our irony at its best. But like we said, it was probably one of the better storylines that we've seen. At the I think.
And then it was one of the better storylines, and it was the payoff.
Yeah,
because Kane would be revealed at that moment with a lot of subtlety to it, because it wasn't he didn't go and say I did it.
No, I think they really did a really good job with that. It
was revealed subtly that he was the attacker.
Yeah.
He was the one that attacked him. And it was great. It was beautifully done. Very beautifully done, dude. One of the better storylines of 2010.
And it's crazy as it sounds, even though we do, looking back at it, I mean, not just looking back on it, I mean, the fact we also criticized the company for some shitty storylines, I think over time.
I feel like over time, Vince wasn't a bad storyteller at the time, but over time, he just got worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, I think, but now I think the main event.
But speaking of bad storylines and bad payoffs,
Oh boy.
We are getting to the most worst burials in history. The worst burial in WWE history. Next up on the card is the main event. Team WWE versus Nexus.
Oh
This
yeah.
match, let me freaking tell you, pissed me off to no end watching it again.
I mean, we talked about this on the show. Like it was really. If you talk about really know how they dropped the ball, this was it.
And the thing is, it was a very, even early on they were looked at as jokes. Because very easily though, Darren Young gets eliminated. Easily.
And it's crazy too. But Derek Young with all that fucking hair, I can say that
The man had a mop on his head.
Hey, we talk about freaking it's bait. No, his hairstyle looked like he stuck a fork in an electric socket. That's what it looked like to me.
It was kind of like a mixture of like bedhead and electric socket.
And think about this too. If you have not seen watch through the Nexus in the 20 how long the Nexus been around since after 20 they were not for the around that long.
It was like 2010. They were there I think up until SummerSlam. And then it was up until SummerSlam. And then a little bit after, I think 2011 they were becoming a joke. Because Wade Barrett would get kicked out, and then members would start getting kicked out. And then they put Husky Harris in there, and then CM Punk in there, and it was just nothing at that point.
Because it's crazy looking back at the Wade Barrett Nexus. You had guys like I said, Wade Barrett, Skip Sheffield, and then who will turn out to be Ryback. What was it? A couple?
2012. 2012.
Yeah, about 2 years later.
2012 was he would get repackaged as Ryback. And honestly, looking back on it, not every member of Nexus got screwed by Nexus.
No.
The whole storyline. Wade Barrett would come in.
Wade Barrett had a really great singles run, if I'm not mistaken.
He honestly wasn't bad. He was, flattered in the mid card, but he wasn't jobbed out. He was actually had a decent run.
He had a decent run since leaving.
Looking back at,
I mean, I feel like the only one that felt like has got the short end of the stick was I feel it was Heath Slater, who.
No, it wasn't. Because he had a singles run. Yes, he was a joke.
That's what I'm saying.
Title runs, he was good because he won a title with Justin Gabriel as the core in 2012.
That's another guy that I felt was very underappreciated.
Justin Gabriel did not amount to shit,
and
despite having a good tag title run in 2012, he would leave the company after that.
Yeah,
he was nothing. Ryback would actually get a WWE title shot.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, too, that also led to the debut, to some interesting.
The Shield.
Yeah, that's great.
It was the debut of the Shield because he got power slammed through a table.
Yeah, and
I think it was a ladder match. He got power slammed to a table.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it would have been a ladder match.
Yeah,
but like we said, it's just one of those things. It's like it really has pissed us off, especially at the time.
R-Truth or Jericho would tag in. He would fight Justin Gabriel. He would beat the shit out of Justin Gabriel, tag in R-Truth. R-Truth almost takes out Justin Gabriel. Gabriel would tag out, tagging in Tarver, who didn't mount to nothing. No one even remembers Tarver.
Yeah, he was.
I forgot about the guy until we watched this.
Yeah, it's just like you really almost think everybody was forgotten except for that one guy, and that was like you said, Tarver.
Yeah. John Morrison would eliminate Tarver. Ryback would dominate Morrison. Morrison's eliminated. So yeah, you could see signs that they were high on certain members.
Yeah.
But some members weren't. They weren't high on, like Heath Slater. They weren't even high on at all.
No.
And Tarver. Tarver was not even.
Yeah, Tarver was non-existent at that point.
Yeah. Ryback would eliminate Truth. Bret Hart was in the damn match. He was one of the TWE. Because remember, he had that like mini run with the company.
Yeah.
He signed as an active wrestler. He had a mini run, bro. He was U.S. champion. He was U.S. champion in 2010.
That's great. That's crazy.
Which is nutty to me. I did not think. I thought he had like maybe a few appearances and one on a fluke and then lost the title. No, he had a good like 6-month reign, or no 6-month run with the company.
Yeah. So
after WWE, after this match would leave, but he had a good 6 months where he was wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Actually, and that's the time he was actually pretty in decent shape that at the age he was. Now I will say too is though I know this is kind of getting on.
The only problem that I had with him, he was in good shape, but his conditioning was ass.
Oh yeah,
because he was already like huffing and puffing like 2 moves in this match.
But yeah, other than that, I know I don't want to try to cut this short because I had another stream scheduled in a couple of minutes. So I want at least try to get finished up here.
Bret Hart would get eliminated because he used a chair.
Mm-hmm.
Edge eliminates Ryback. Jericho eliminates Otunga. Slater eliminates Jericho and Edge. Edge and Jericho attack Cena, beat him up. Michael Cole complains about Daniel Bryan the entire time.
Shit. Yeah.
Daniel Bryan dominates Slater. Miz would interfere, attack Bryan, and Bryan's eliminated. Cena would take down Justin Gabriel. Wade tags in to save him, and both humble Cena. So Cena's down. And he looks like he's out, right? They pull up the damn mat. They pull up the mat on the outside. And this is where it pisses me off. They DDT Cena onto hard concrete, bro.
Yeah.
In real life, that shit knocks you out. You're not waking up from this shit. Justin Gabriel climbs the top rope. They throw Cena back in the ring. Justin Gabriel climbs the top rope, right? He goes to hit a 450. Cena wakes up magically because he senses Justin Gabriel. Puts his knees up. Gabriel's eliminated. Right after that, didn't even give Wade 2 seconds. He tries to attack Cena, immediately puts him in the goddamn STF, loses the match.
Ah, boy, that was oi.
What the fuck was that, dude?
Exactly.
Talk about a goddamn burial of a group. To end like that.
And that's what you too. When you land on concrete, you're not supposed to fuck. You're kind of knocked out.
When you land on freaking concrete, your head bounces off the damn concrete. Logically speaking, if that was real, your ass is knocked out.
Absolutely.
But for him to wake up 2 freaking seconds later, come on.
It didn't make sense because the thing with the next at that time, you had something there. Like
you had something there. Have Gabriel hit a 450, and then have tag in Wade. Have Wade hit his finisher. Have Wade have Wade win the match with a pin.
It's crazy looking back.
They had Cena beat, bro. And then Cena wakes up and changes the goddamn narrative.
Trust me, it's just like as crazy as I might say this. It's like shit.
The reason why WWE did that shit, it's for the kids, and I want the kids to go home happy.
Well,
the damn kids, bro.
I would not go that far.
And I was goddamn what? 12? I was a kid myself.
Exactly.
The damn kids.
Well. Oh God!
The hell with the kids.
I'm sorry.
But next is over.
Because you really think because looking at what WWE is, where they are now, if say they were still like around, well, not Tarver, but I think somebody else that could fill it because I don't know what the dude's been up to, but if like the most of the guys were still together, and Triple H. I think the Triple H could have done I thought it could have done. Say hypothetically, if they were still together. The point that I'm making is if Triple H was
If
in charge,
Triple H ran WWE in 2010, Nexus was going over in that match.
because you had potential stars in the making of Nexus, probably one of the most dominant factions you could come as.
You built them up before SummerSlam to be the dominant faction that they were supposed to be.
But no, but
you fucked it up because kids want to see Cena win. What the fuck was that?
I mean, at the time too, it's just like at one point, yes, it was like I would have
literally had Nexus win, continue to feud, have Cena win later.
That was just poor booking and poor.
Oh my god!
I think that was poor
booking.
It was
mind-numbingly stupid.
And
then they had it. They ended it in the most illogical freaking fashion.
That is true.
That's what angered me the most about it.
And you really think about it too, it's just it was very disappointing. You know, looking like we said, what if you do not Peacock and don't know what we're talking about, we highly recommend you rewatch SummerSlam 2010. I thought overall it was a good show, minus the match.
It was a decent show. There's like some things that I nitpicked, like the whole
it's like very nitpick
thing. But the Melina Alicia Fox match was bad in my opinion.
This is before Alicia Fox got. This was way prior before Alicia Fox got clean, if I'm not mistaken. Too. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, which honestly, then again does make sense because Alicia Fox was into alcohol at the time. She had alcohol issues.
Like you could definitely see it in her face.
You could see it in her face. You could see it in her damn hair. You could see it anywhere. She looked like she was drunk at the time.
And it's just like it was. You couldn't help feel bad for.
No, you couldn't. And the thing is, I'm glad she's clean now. She seems like a wonderful human being. Honestly.
I think she's also. I don't know what she's doing up to. If I'm not mistaken,
I wonder what she's doing. I really do.
She's probably somewhere enjoying life.
I'm proud of her for getting clean. She seems like a stand-up human being. She's a nice human being. She's funny.
Yeah.
She's great. She's a great human being. It's just like the demons, man.
It's shit. I mean,
got to her at the time, man.
But yeah, I mean, it's just. I think overall, when I gave the show, I gave like a C minus, based on the fact that, like I said, the Late Cool segment was uncalled for. The Melina, like I said, the Melina thing just was.
The thing is, it was basically a glorified. It was a glorified squash.
It was basically it was a filler.
It was filler, but it wasn't like filler in terms of it was like okay match. It was filler as it was a freaking squash match.
Yeah, that's my hugest nitpick because of that.
But the rest of the card was actually pretty good, in my opinion. Until the main event. Main event took me out of it by the end, and they ended it on a sour note, in my opinion.
Oh, I think sour note's an understatement.
Everybody.
Oh, that
they hated the match. They hated the fact that they buried Nexus, which I believe they buried Nexus.
Yeah, you could definitely. Well, I don't think they fully buried them because I mean
they didn't fully bury them because some wrestlers did.
Some were highly
benefit.
Regarded.
They did benefit it. They buried everybody on Nexus. They didn't bury everybody.
Like we said, Wade Barrett had a decent singles run. Ryback had a decent singles run. Slater, decent tag team run, but not great singles run because we see, and this also goes back to the one. Jesus Christ! I mean, the amount of times that man has been embarrassed on live TV. Oh, good Lord! That's
Heath Slater.
Yeah, Heath Slater. Because remember,
dude got beaten. Dude got squashed by every legend under the sun on one episode of Goddamn Raw.
You had Lita, the APA, Doink the Clown. He got beat by Psycho Sid one episode. It's like, why?
He got squashed by goddamn Doink the freaking Clown, bro.
That's just like
that's the embodiment of freaking embarrassment.
Or not to mention this too, like he had Cyndi Lauper smash him in the head with one of her platinum records. It's like, what is?
I think even freaking Brooklyn Brawler beat his ass.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's just like what the.
And that man was a jobber.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, this is terrible.
Like,
At that point, everybody knew Slater was not gonna amount
and
to.
the fact that he lasted long in that company was.
Oh my god.
I would thought he would have been out of the building ever since then. But the fact he
I thought
lasted,
he'd be out by at least 2014, 2015.
I guess. Well, I mean, shit. The fact that he also, yeah. Oh Jesus Christ! Probably one of the worst tag teams I've ever seen. A 3MB, one of the worst factions.
The thing is, it wasn't really bad, and they got over with the fans.
What? Oh my.
Vince did not like them. The fans did. Vince didn't, and they were jobbers.
Oh Jesus Christ! Look, I mean, this
And
is
the thing is, goddamn Hornswoggle and his little WLC thing got over.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's if you really think shit. Looking back at it, you've been people would look at this crazy. Like you had guys like Drew McIntyre, part of 3MB. It's just like really you wouldn't. I don't know, but it's crazy how much times has changed since then.
But yeah, but the match I'm gonna have to give it a SummerSlam 2010. I'll have to give it a B.
That makes sense.
It wasn't a bad show. The card was actually pretty decent.
It was pretty decent, but just.
But the thing is, there's like 2 matches that I hated. That was the Alicia Fox match, and the Nexus match.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And the reason why I hate the Nexus match, the match was good. The ending was so illogical.
It was bad,
and it buried a whole entire faction.
It killed what you had, and then unfortunately, well, it didn't really, like we said, it didn't say fully bury them, and you had guys like Riot or Skip Sheffield.
The thing is, it didn't bury the individuals; it buried the group.
Oh yeah, the group. Oh, absolutely, that was a full blower on burial.
The group was not the same again because they weren't even looked at as a dominant faction anymore because they got beat by Cena.
Yeah.
Two members of Nexus got jobbed out of the match within a few minutes to end the match. Not even 2 minutes, and the match was over.
Nah, because you really think about it, because what, like not a minute and a half? Because I remember not even a minute and a half in, Darren Young taps out to Daniel Bryan. At the time, this was a prime Daniel Bryan at the time too. Before,
and I wouldn't say Darren Young was a joke either. He was with the primetime players, and that got over.
Oh yeah, that was a fan favorite.
Fan favorite group, primetime players. I like primetime players. But then after that, he was like off TV for a while. He came back with Bob Backlund. That became a joke.
Oh God, I hated that.
And then he was fired.
If I'm not mistaken, too, he also that was the exact same year too. He also came out as part of the.
Came out as gay the same damn year he got jobbed out and fired.
From what I understood, he's actually doing pretty well for himself ever since then.
And that's what pisses me off too about Vince. Sonya Deville comes out as gay, right?
It's just like
she has not been booked. She did not get booked great at all after getting called up.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Booked wonderfully in NXT, wonderfully.
Well, once
she got to the main roster, Vince
shit was
got
different.
wind that she was gay and said, you know what? No, I don't like her. Same thing with Darren freaking Young. He comes out as gay. Same year he gets jobbed out and fired.
What am I saying to that? So I don't know, because I don't think Titus O'Neil had somewhat of an okay singles run. I just don't think, because I think him and Young were better as tag teams. But
to me, Titus O'Neil was just there, in my opinion.
But yeah,
he was just there. Like he would be booked good, like some like months, and then he would be booked poorly, or he wouldn't even be booked at all.
That's crazy.
Then he would be there again, and then he's off TV. It was like stop and start pushes, but he wasn't booked poorly. But he was never given any titles. Maybe a tag team title here and there, but like he wasn't booked greatly as a singles competitor.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But other than that, but yeah, I thought overall it was. I think, like I said, the show was good, but it wasn't too bad to the point where like, shit could have been a lot different than what they presented on at the time.
Yeah.
But
now they don't even book him for TV. They don't even book him as a wrestler. He's more so an ambassador now.
I'm all for that too.
I'm all for it too because he's on the older side, which I get why they would take him off TV as a wrestler. But,
Yeah, but
honestly, I like him as an ambassador because he's a good human being. He's a nice guy.
I mean, shit. I mean, ever since, he's really done a lot, especially in the community, ever since being into that role.
Yeah, I like Titus O'Neil as a human being.
Oh yeah, but
great human fucking being. Great human being.
Oh, absolutely.
But honestly,
but yeah, I don't think we don't have that much to add other than the fact that
honestly, pretty good show. Wasn't the greatest.
Could have done a lot better in certain areas.
Two matches that I find that are duds, but actually 3 weeks I didn't really care for the K match either. So I might have to bump it. I have to bump it down to a C, honestly.
Yeah.
C plus, because 3 matches I didn't really care for. One match just pissed me off.
Oh yeah.
But the 2 other matches, honestly, the Ray and K match was also a glorified squash match. And the whole Alicia Fox and Melina thing sucked.
Oh yeah, I mean,
but the rest of the card was great.
It was.
So I'm gonna have to give it a C though. C plus.
I think solid C plus should do it. But like we said, hang on. Sorry, I'm munching on pistachios. Probably one of my favorite snacks. But
I don't give a fuck, bro.
But other than that, that's all the time we got for you guys today. Probably one of the better episodes that we've done. Because like I said, and as Liam put it, I do have the Phillies game later tonight. Who knows whether with the way the weather has been. Well, we'll see.
It's been raining off and on here today.
But yeah. But with that being said, this is Robert and Tyler from the It's Building Podcast and the Philly Sports Top Podcast as well.
We got this show on both channels, so if you want to,
and we're finally, and this time it's not called the Recollection Series. So now it's called
called WB
Pay-Per-View and Review.
Reviews. That's all we're going to call
it. It's short.
Make it simple, short. Recollection Series was just a mouthful. No one really, paid attention to it because of that.
Absolutely.
Just make it simple. Make it,
and me and Tyler will talk behind the scenes, for the next show that we'll do.
Yeah, we'll ask. We'll go.
Actually, I might put that on the community. Actually, I might put that on the community tab. Actually, that would be an interesting kind of thing to talk.
Ask in your community tab if there's like a poll feature, because I'm not.
Community tab does have a poll feature
because I don't have enough. I don't have enough.
You need 500 subs to have a community tab.
Yeah, we need 500 subs. We're I'm still at 44. So if you guys would like to subscribe, go right ahead because it will help me greatly. And help our wrestling channel greatly on my side because I look at those numbers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rob's numbers are damn near fucking great. Mine's still kind of low, so if you guys would,
we're still building up. We're still building up to it.
Dude, we're grinding. We are grinding.
Absolutely.
I feel like more series on the It's Real Me channel would help greatly because we don't release videos. We only did podcast episodes, which actually hurt me because I'm like, we need to put more content than just podcast episodes.
Yeah.
And I feel like you guys would agree we need to just put more content. Whether it's a classic pay-per-view series, classic Raw, classic SmackDown, anything, you would like to see.
Absolutely.
We'll put it out there. We need to put more wrestling news, out there as it happens because those, work wonders.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But we don't want to keep you guys dragging on because I have other stuff to do. Also, shout out to me. I finally got my fucking crown and Fall Guys, so thank God for that. I know that's irrelevant, but
I got one crown, so I gotta go and I have to grind on that soon. But
with that being said, we'll see you in the next one. Whatever show you want to ask, just hit me up on I'll put a poll in the community.
Honestly, we should just do the next time. Well, let's just do this and then have like news throughout the week, and then we'll talk about the news that we did drop.
That works too. That works for me.
So whenever news you find, you release a video on it. Like you do with your sports channel. So I know you keep up with the sports, but keep up with the wrestling too. That would help us greatly on this channel. But we'll just do news sprinkled out through the week, and then on Mondays at 6 p.m. we back with another pay-per-view. Let us know in the comments what pay-per-view you would like to see next. It could be from any era, 80s, 90s, 70s. I don't care.
Yeah, because
I'm totally adventurous. Buffalo.
But like we said, with that being said, thank you for those who kind of tuned in to basically the rebirth of our pay-per-view and review series. Even though we did say, we finally did change it after all this time. Looking back at us, it's like we should have done that a lot sooner.
I was looking back on it, I'm like, we need to revamp that series.
We need to rename that shit because that does not sound
my
right.
Recollection just was like, that was too long. And plus, also we did one pay-per-view, and that was WrestleMania 2000. And that was like months ago.
Yeah, it was what? Yeah, months ago. And
that was literally WrestleMania weekend. We did that shit.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, we gotta get.
Oh, actually, got a last minute question from Damien. So, question is, what he says: what are your thoughts on Edge saying he's going to retire?
Oh, good question, Damien.
That's a very good question.
Honestly, I'm not shocked by it. He's older. He's like in his late 40s.
Because I think too, like,
and it was supposed to be a small run anyway. And but honestly, it will pay me if he doesn't have at least one more world title run. But it doesn't need it.
I mean, he's done enough for the company over the. I mean, from the attitude.
And what makes me happy is that he's going to retire on his terms. He's not going to retire because of a freak injury like he did in 2011.
Oh, absolutely.
He's going to retire because he wants to retire.
I think that was his plan all along since being cleared from a neck injury.
Come back, have a little small run, and then retire. All he wanted. He just wanted to buy a couple more years and then retire.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, that's an interesting question. But we're going to have to wrap it up because, like I said, I got the Phillies game in about a few minutes. So just with that being said, thank you for those who tuned in. As we gave our breakdown of SummerSlam 2010, like we said, I'll put it on the community tab. You can hit up my buddy Tyler on Twitter.
I'll put a poll.
Yeah, actually, put a poll on Twitter. Actually, that's works.
I'll put a poll out on Twitter for you guys to answer.
But like I said, we don't want to keep you here for much longer. With that being said, appreciate everybody tuning in, and we'll see you guys in the next one.